Hello and welcome to Battle 2 of the Descent Expedition. The rolling plains north of the mud-crusted mire are dotted with the ruins of old towns. Cabins wilt like starving flowers, their wooden beam eaten from the inside by rot and termites. Abandoned streets stink with decay, blackened corn husks and chicken bones that crack beneath Brahma's footsteps. Century-old vestiges of the calamity that still haunt the barren landscape. Brahma leads her people from ruin to ruin, sheltering in the burned-out carcasses of humanity's ancient homes. She hadn't expected the followers to rush forward to join her on her probably suicidal odyssey simply because she gave a pretty speech. She's barely even expected Dalana to still be up to tag along, considering Brahma barely had a plan, but they had. Men, women, children, people of all kinds had stepped forward with one mind and spit at the feet of the sisterhood who had been their only protection from the nameless. It was as Yantai predicted. They were desperate for hope, a new life where they could be something. And now Brahma paces the dirt-swept floor of an abandoned cottage, listening to the rain drip through the cracks in the ceiling, and considers the dozens of expectant eyes awaiting her promised land. That's the problem. I hadn't considered it, she says, tapping her fingers against her initiate necklace. She only just barely earned this, a distinction she craved her entire life. Now it means nothing. The idea wasn't fully formed when my hand was pushed. Brahma shoots a glare over at Yantai, who merely grins back. She's been in fine spirits ever since the exodus from the sisterhood. An idea in your head helps nobody. It would have language there in your self-doubt. You are a leader, Brahma. You just needed a push over the edge. Sorry, can we discuss the fact that we have no idea where Carrick is? Dalana runs a nervous hand through her hair. I know it's by the ocean. Brahma brings her hands out flat in front of her to try to visualize their surroundings. If we find the ocean, we can walk along the edge until we reach it. Have you seen how big the ocean is? Leisan interjects with the derisive snort. She's leaning against the cottage wall, sharpening her spear. The scraping of metal on stone sets Brahma's nerves on fire. Incredible plan you got there. You didn't have to come along with us, you know. Brahma snaps. And miss the adventure? I would never. Things were always so boring and under control with the sisterhood. I want front row seats to this catastrophe. It's not going to be a catastrophe. I'm the leader of these people right now, so I'm going to think of a plan. Right? Of course. Yantai claps her hands. Come on, Leisan. Step aside so Elder Brahma, the wisest amongst us, can make a plan. Brahma shudders. The term elder feels awkward and heavy around her shoulders. That's not what I meant. I'm not trying to be an elder. Then stop thinking like the sisterhood. Yantai takes a step forward and catches Brahma's cheeks in her soft, cool hand. They steady her whirling mind like twin anchors. Knowing magic doesn't make you special or smarter, it just makes you magic. If we're going to be a group, we need to work together. Consult the followers. But I was a follower up until a few years ago. We're not brainless sheep. Even Dalana stood up to the infector when we needed her, and she's the biggest coward I know. Yantai waves off Delana's indignant protest before it even comes out of her mouth. You're different from the sisterhood, Brahma. You're smarter, you're far better looking, and you're 100 times bolder. Use the resources you have. I don't. Brahma blinks, her eyes growing hot. She shakes away her embarrassment and takes a deep breath. You're right. Even if I don't know the path forward, someone else might. I'm not going to lead everyone in circles before I'm too afraid of asking for help. Incredible plan, boss. Yantai smacks Brahma lightly in the cheeks before stepping away. I had a feeling you'd come up with something that brilliant, so I took the liberty of reaching out. Yantai makes a sweeping gesture at the cottage door just as it swings open, revealing Thraxir and a young woman. Her dark hair pulled back from her face. On her hip she balances a young girl, maybe 2 or 3 years old. Elder Brahma, I am Myrna, a forager. Myrna dips into a slight bow. And this is my niece, Thraxir. I apologize, but she's just begun to walk and my brother is worried she will wander off if someone doesn't keep hold of her. Call me Brahma. Being called elder feels foolish. Brahma touches Myrna gently on the shoulder, beckoning her to rise. Please tell me, do you know the way to Carrick? Alas, I do not. Myrna reaches into her satchel and produces some wrinkled parchment carefully kept and creased over many years. However, in the limited amount the elders allowed us to carry, my family kept and passed down a small journal about all the places that clan journeyed. In it, I have direction to the mountains of the Hench mystics. Brahma takes the pages from Myrna's hand, peering at them closely. They are an ancient order who melt themselves with stones to gain their patience and longevity. It may be a myth, but my grandmother wrote that some of them have even been alive since before the calamity. That's not possible, Delana gasps. Even the ancestors of the elders only knew of the times before the calamity through books and stories. The magic of the Hench is ancient and forgotten by all but those who practice it. Myrna hikes Thraxir further up her hip. But I believe the stories passed down to me. Brahma nods decisively. Take us there. The journey to the Hench mystics takes weeks. With only 4 mages, Brahma must travel slowly. Their best defense against the wandering nameless is avoidance, laying low wherever they can along their path. It drives Brahma mad to travel like this, but it is the safest choice for her mostly defenseless people. Each night, sheltered in ruins or hidden among trees, she dreams of the towering walls and hearth fires. Each day, Myrna walks with Brahma at the front of the group. They aim themselves toward the sky-teeth mountains, their peak growing over the horizon. The grasslands turn to forest, the forest turns to marsh, and then finally the ground begins to slope upward. The air grows dry and thin as they climb, following the instruction written in Myrna's journal whenever the path splits or falters. When they finally reach the mouth of the cave, an old man is sitting cross-legged in front of it, his eyes closed in peaceful meditation. He cranks an eye open at Brahma's approach and smiles. I know why you come, travelers, he says, his voice as rough as the stones beneath him. My name is Masahadran. I am honored to help you on your quest. Brahma is taken aback. What kind of magic must you possess to hold such knowledge? Oh, I just been eavesdropping on you during your climb. Masahedron chuckles and rises to his feet. I've been to the city you seek during my lifetime. Brahma, I remember the path there well. It would be simple to guide you. So the stories are true, Myrna breathes wide-eyed. You truly are immortal. Would an immortal choose to look as I do? Mesahedron smiles, creases his wrinkled face. He steps forward and takes Myrna's hands in his. We mystics merely know how to extend our lives by taking excursions into the void. Time is different for us in these caves. The void. Brahma takes a step back, suddenly nervous about the cave in front of them. Mind it not. We should not linger over such matters. It is not the way of mystics to be hurried, but right now I fear time is in short order. Masahedron squeezes Myrna's hands. If you'd like to be guided to the city of Carrick, I'll need your help first. There's a settlement at the base of the mountains. The stones hear the echoes of dread singing. There are monsters there, scavenging, void creatures and corrupted magic. Please free the mountains from this sorrowful echo. Of course, Brahma promises, as long as my people can shelter here while we fight, I would not put them in harm's way unnecessarily. They may remain, but I think this wise woman should accompany us. Masahedron nods to Myrna, who looks back in shock. Me? But I'm just a forager. I cannot fight. You're more than a forager, Myrna. You are a scholar. The wisdom you hold is a magic of its own. We will be stronger with you by our side. Envelope 2. Alright, so now we get the dividers, that's good. The Coven, Scavenger, the Scholar. Yeah, she definitely looks like a scholar here, that's for sure. Okay, we have some barriers. We have some scholar tokens and some destiny tokens. At the end of your turn, after refilling your hand, you may prep a spell in hand to an open breach. Okay, that's pretty strong. Oh, we have a younger Masahedron. We have the Coven. Okay, let's see. Scavenger. Call the Stragglers. The player with the lowest life suffers 4. Okay, having that on repeat is going to be rough. The Scholar. Study the Ancients. Myrna gains 4 knowledge. Setup. Myrna gains 2 knowledge. No special setup. The Coven. Unleash. Remove 1 power token from either diatribe of despair or melody of madness. Increase difficulty. Rules after diatribe of despair or melody. After diatribe of despair or melody of madness finishes resolving, unleash twice. So you remove 2 power tokens from either. Afterwards. Okay. Setup. Place Daughter of Doom and Matron of Malice into play. Then place into play the correct version of Diatribe of Despair and Melody of Madness based on player count. Interesting. Prevent all damage dealt to the Coven. Do not discard Diatribe of Despair or Melody of Madness, even if one of them or one of the witches is defeated. Daughter of Doom and Matron of Malice are minions and witches. and thereby also foes, enemies. When Daughter of Doom and Matron of Malice is defeated, turn it face down. When both Daughter of Doom and Matron of Malice are face down, the players win the game. So I already decided to play with Leisan and Thraxir for our second game to complete those, and then I will save Mesahedron for the third game, but it's the first one we see here. So he has Fragmented of Earth and the ability Mantra of Earth. Makes sense. Activate during any player's main phase. Gain a card that costs 4 or less from any supply pile. Any ally gains a Destiny token, or any player that returns a Destiny token to its supply and draws 5 cards. That's pretty strong. When a player gains a Destiny token, they place that token in front of them. For the rest of the game, that player resolves all of their Destiny tokens at the end of their turn, refilling their hand. Yes, so these are all the Destiny tokens, so that's for him. At the end of your turn, after you're refilling your hand, gain 1 life. Okay, so they have like different effects. At the end of your turn, filling hand, focus breed with lowest focus cost. Okay, can you choose any ally gains a Destiny token? Set aside the Destiny tokens. Okay, so I believe you can choose which ones. Okay, so he's gonna be really cool to be playing with. I assume like these scholar tokens has something to do with the knowledge that Myrna is doing with her special cards, friend cards. Okay, so was that everything from here? Yeah, and then instructs us to open deck 2A. Fragment of Earth for Mesahedron. Gain 1 ether. You may place the next card you gain this turn on top of any ally's discard pile. If you do, gain 1 knowledge. Okay, so the previous Mesahedron gained 1 ether, and then you could gain another ether, but you can only use it to use that ether to buy a card to give to another player. So +1, but you couldn't gain it yourself. So if you do gain 1 knowledge in Destiny token. Okay, do these knowledge tokens have something intrinsic? I don't think so. So I guess they just interact with some cards, right? Oh, but he can spend the knowledge himself or spend 2 knowledge. If you do, gain 3 charges. Right, so he accumulates knowledge. Accumulates knowledge by giving cards to allies. And then he can spend that to gain charges. Okay, makes sense. Right, and then we have 6 treasure ones, so we'll add those to our starting decks for battle 2 to give like a starting benefit. Nadia's Smooth Tourmaline. Gain 1 ether. You may spend 2 to place a gem or relic you played this turn on top of your deck. That can be pretty strong if there is a spell, a relic or gem that we really like to see. Johanna's Bottled Ink. Gain 1 ether. Any ally may discard a gem. If they do, gain 2 ether. And the next card you gain this turn goes on top of your deck. Right, so a lot of stuff with putting on top of the deck. We have to gain 2 ether. Oh, I feel like that's really strong. Any ally may discard a gem. If they do, you gain 2 ether, so it's a +1 ether, and it goes on top of your deck. I think that's pretty strong. That's like always having the Wristwood Amber. Naftir's Warple Knife. Cast. If this was cast from a third breach, deal 2 damage. Otherwise, deal 1. I'm not sure for these mages particularly, but I can definitely see that being really strong. Orange Copter Structure. Gain 1 ether. If you cast 3 or more spells this turn, gain 1 charge and 1 ether. That can be nice in a lot of circumstances. Orange Aluminum Infuser. Gain 1 ether. The next time you gain a spell this turn, any ally gains an ether token. Right, so if you can just spam some cheap spells early on, you can give ether tokens, or like if you buy, whenever you buy one, I mean. Okay, that's pretty strong. And we have the study deck for Myrna. And we have the foe deck. Right, nothing else. Okay, so these are the Coven cards that we will add. Okay, these are separate things. Use this version for 1-player game. 1, 2, 2. So we'll have those 2, and the rest are set aside. Daughter of Doom. When this is dealt 2 or less damage in a single instance, place a barrier token on Diatribe of Despair. Right, so you want to hit her hard with some high damage spells. Matron of Malice. When this is dealt 3 or more damage in a single instance, place a barrier token on Melody of Madness. And you want to hit her with low impact spells, 2 or less, until you have defeated the other, and then it doesn't matter. Abyssal Poet. Persistent, remove a barrier token from a power in play or unleash. Okay, so I guess we will interact with those barriers. I guess they might just work as shields, but for the Nemesis or something, I'll look into that. That's for the Nemesis deck, and those are the power-ups, and that's all the cards that we'll see. Alright, so I will just double check that I know all the rules, and I'll set it up and prepare my supply. Alright, I've chosen my supply, set up the Nemesis, and first of all, I realized these barriers are for my entertainment, so it's reverse. When attacking Daughter of Doom, I want to deal 2 damage or less, so I can place a barrier on Diatribe of Despair. And what these barriers are going to do is they're going to reduce the damage these powers do when they trigger. Matron of Malice is connected to Melody of Madness. Melody of Madness, power 12. Any player suffers 9 damage, reduce this damage by 3 for each barrier token on this. Then discard all barrier tokens on this. Do not discard this card from play, instead add 6 power tokens to this card. We have the same thing with Diatribe of Despair. Power 6, Gravehold suffers 7, reduced damage by 1 for each barrier token on this, then discard all barriers on this. Do not discard this card from play, instead add 6 power tokens to this card. So 1 for Gravehold, 1 for players. Players initially take more damage, but you can add more barriers to it. Sorry, each barrier reduces more damage, so you just need 3 barriers on this to reduce it to 0 damage. Diatribe of Despair is 7 damage, but you need to put 7 barriers on it to completely take off the damage. So I've chosen to go with Endless Weave, Boundless Engulf, and have tuned Reconstructor in the supply. Tuned Reconstructor to use the spells more often, upgrade to higher cards, so we can get Constructing Coruscating Mirror that gives an ally a draw and an ether token, so that's kind of nice. And also you can get an Electrified token out, which gives you a charge when defeating that minion or enemy. For the level 1 treasures, I have chosen to give Leisan Johanna's Bottled Ink. It's not so great on the first move through the deck, but on the second way through, she can gain an additional ether and put it on top of the deck, and hopefully that's going to benefit her a lot. And then for Thraxir, I have Ona's Overwhelming Flame. Gain 1 ether the next time you use your ability this turn. Cast any player's prep spell without discarding it. I am hoping that he will be using his ability a lot, so I can get to utilize the side effect of that treasure, especially combined with a high cost spell from Leisan through her deck, And then I have Banner of Chronicles here. The foe loses 1 charge. I think there's a lot of stuff that can accelerate the decks from Myrna the Scholar, but I really want to reduce the risk of taking a lot of damage. Yeah, so, and Leisan has the spell version, the foe loses 1 charge, Banner of Siphon. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I've done the controversial of I have the Coven on the side, just as a reminder for myself, but I will, since it's not really used, it's better to just have the health bars over here, and then on the side, space management. Alright, so for complete transparency, this is a new game. What happened, I played out the last game and I won and everything was fine, everything was good. But then I reread Leisan's Treasure, Johanna's Bottled Ink. And now I realize that she's not the one who gains the card when using the secondary effect. It's the player who discarded a gem from their hand. Any ally may discard a gem. If they do, gain 2 ether and the next card you gain this turn goes on top of their deck. And not her own. So I misplayed that. I gained an early acidic flowmite. I think I got a different card during the game as well on top of that and placed it on top of her deck, and that is not how that's supposed to go down. So I played that out, and now I've set everything up according to the rules with the same cards and everything. Well, new Nemesis cards anyway, so we don't know what's coming there, or I don't know. I'm still keeping that gem for Leisan because it's still good to be able to give a card to Thraxir even if she cannot keep it herself. It's also is ether that's not specifically allocated to something specific, so she can use it for buying off powers, gaining a charge, focusing breaches, and so on. So I still think it's a good card for her, and to not have too many variances. I'm still sticking with it. So that's the game. Right, let's get into this. Round 1. Leisan starting off strong. Getting 2 ether from Unsealed Essence because she hasn't used her ability yet. Prepping Banner of Siphon. So that's 5 ether. I'm just gonna go ahead and getting Acidic Flowmite. Because we want that ether to power up her ability, and then afterwards, because of how it works out, she wants to keep using her ability over and over again as often as possible. So getting that ether is really helpful for her. We got her again, Banner of Siphon for 1 damage, so gonna proc this down to 4. So she has 34 health, and we put a barrier token on. 2 sparks in hand, so we're gonna spend that free ether to open that breach. And just be able to prep those without caring. There is an argument to make that she wants to buy Time Rift. There is an argument to be made that she would have liked to buy Time Rift or Endless Weave, because we want the damage from Matron of Malice, but I hope I can make up for it down the road, that we have plenty of health and we have no health. I'll just rectify that. Moving on, so that was all from Leisan. We have Friend. Study. Myrna the Scholar gains 1 charge. You may have the foe gain 1 charge. If you do, Myrna gains an additional 2 charges, or Myrna the Scholar loses 2 knowledge. If she does, any player casts a prep spell without discarding it. I don't know. I don't really want to see the scavenger pop off. But we also have stuff to take away charges from it, so we actually may be able to just risk it. So it gains 1, and then Scholar gains 2. Let's see how that works out. That's a bit risky, but I think we have what it takes to survive that risk, and especially because of how Leisan works, you can take a lot of damage without suffering a lot of consequences. 2. Right. So prepping that, and then we're getting Washium because we really want to open our breaches. Oh, but... Alright, yeah, so we opened that. He had Infuser in hand, so it could be discarded to gain 2 Ether tokens, which would have been an additional Ether in hand. And we could buy Endless Weave, actually. But actually, no, we want that Washium. We also just want Acidic Flowmite, potentially. Just for the additional Ether. Now, we're gonna go ahead with this, maybe next time. Nemesis. Right, so a power token off of each of these. Rend. Unleash. Gravely suffers 1, any player suffers 2. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a power off that one because it has the longest to go down. I still think we have time to deal some damage to it. Gravely suffers 1, goes down to 29. And then Thraxir is gonna go down to 8. Leisan has have plenty of time to take damage later on. Right, so that's all. Thraxir again. So what we could do now is what I'm probably going to do. We're gonna open up our second breach because then we are ready to utilize Washium to open up our third breach down the line. Okay, that's all from Thraxir. Nemesis goes again. Power off, power off. Remove 2 power tokens from Melody of Madness or unleash any player discards 3 gems in hand. So it's essentially 1 off instead of 2 off. Right, so we have here is 1 because we want to spend 1 to focus. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Otherwise it's just 2. We want to keep that Ether in hand, honestly. So he doesn't want to do it really, so that's going to be 3, 4, 5. I think she can just do it, honestly. And we take 1 off here. So that's Nemesis. And we have Foe. Any player discards the 2 most expensive cards in hand and then draws a card, or Gravely suffers 3. Reclaim. I think Gravely is just gonna be fine this game, so we're gonna go down to what, 26. That's it for round 1. Round 2. We have Friend, and Myrna gains 2 charges. Delve. Myrna Scholar gains 2 charges, or Myrna the Scholar loses 1 knowledge. If she does, any player gains 4 tokens. 4 for tokens, so that's gonna be 2 charges, triggering that, leaving her with 1. Because she went up to 5, and then she's gonna have 4 knowledge tokens. 2. So we don't want to see Diatribe of Despair popping off. We also want to see the next card in hand being the one we buy now. So I'm just gonna keep that. So 1 to do that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's an Endless Weave. Unfortunately, we cannot use our ability exactly right now. That would have been super powerful. Nemesis. Power tokens off. Miasma of Rot. To discard, spend 6. Power 2, unleash any player against a Scorched Pearl from the curse deck. Okay. Not exactly ideal, but fine. Alright, Here's what's gonna happen. We want to use both the sparks to hit Daughter of Doom twice, using her to 2, and putting 2 barriers on. So now it's 3 barriers, so Diatribe of Despair is only gonna deal 4 to Gravehold. It's not exactly great, but it's much better than what it could have been. So Endless Weave, prepped, and then we have 4 Ether. We could just get a second Washium. It's also going to help us down the line. Of course, it would be nice to just put it into charges, but I think we really want to focus on opening up our breaches, and then we have this, like, we have more Ether in the deck. Foe. Gravehold suffers 3, or the Scavenger gains 3 charges, and the friend gains 1 charge. So the player with the lowest life suffers 4. Thraxir would go down to 4. So we don't know yet how much damage we're gonna take from Diatribe of Despair or Melody of Madness or Run. So I am actually gonna do Controversial Shadow Slash. And give it 3 charges and the friend 1 charge. So that triggers. It goes over here, and then Thraxir goes down to 4. So that's a bit early, but Gravehold has already been losing health. So we'll see. Depends on what the Nemesis is gonna do. Right. Yes, we already discarded 3. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 1, 2, so the sparks don't really matter. If we're buying a spell now, it would matter. What do we have for? Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna buy 1 more Acidic Flowmite for the 5 Ether. 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's a big Ether hand. Might even just discard Miasma or Rot with it. Right, yeah, no new information by seeing it's Leisan next, because Nemesis goes now. 1 of each. So I know they are over here because, like, thematically I like them to be with their respective witch, but they are first in the game, so they are going to trigger before any in-play cards. Fatal Tempo. Discard, spend 5, power 2, unleash, remove 2 barrier tokens from any power. That could be quite unfortunate to have trigger. Right. So we're gonna use 2 power, 2 sparks to ping this down to, well, 30 health, 8 health now. That's gonna be 2 barriers on it. So we're almost at the point where it doesn't do any damage whatsoever. Gonna prep Banner of Siphon. 2, 3, 4. So could discard a crystal and then get another Endless Weave for Thraxir, and I think I'm just gonna do that. Because what would I would just buy an Endless Weave for myself next turn, so much rather having 4 Ether for 2 charges and begin doing that stuff. So now I'm doing it correctly. So 4 in hand, Endless Weave next, good. 5. Right, so let's see if she goes first before the Nemesis. Round 3. Friend. Minute Scholar gains 2 charges, or Minute Scholar loses 1 knowledge. If she does, reveal the turn order deck and return it any order. I don't care enough about the turn order deck right now. If they trigger, I'm gonna be fine. I think that's my stance right now. So rather, I'm gonna give Mina 2 charges to just power up with all the knowledge. So now she's at 8. And at least next time something more beneficial comes up, I can utilize that. So like drawing a lot of cards with Archive. Any player draws 3 cards and discards any cards from this way drawn this way that costs 3 or more, or Myrna loses any amount of knowledge. The players collectively draw cards equal to knowledge lost this way. So we can get to draw a lot of cards. Alright, so that did end up mattering. Right, so first we have these off. So that's going to be 7 to Gravehold minus each, 1 for each barrier. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's just 2 damage to Gravehold. Also makes sense because it's been pinging for 1 each. And it has lost 5 HP. So, right, so then we have, goes back to 6. But increased difficulty, we're going to remove. We want to unleash twice, so we're going to remove 1 from each. A little bit egalitarian. Right, and then this says unleash. Gonna remove 1 from Diatribe of Despair, I think. Any player gains a Scorched Pearl from the Curse deck. I think Leisan is best at getting rid of that. Fatal Tempo takes 1 down. And then we have Crumbling Earth. To discard, spend 6. Power 3, unleash twice. Any player discards a card in hand that costs 1 ether or more and suffers 1 damage. That's a lot for an unleashed. Okay, so Leisan goes now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. I kind of want to keep this. That's 6, 8, 10. So I want to wait with taking off Crumbling Earth because. Do I? Alright, so what I want to do is gain 4 ether to gain 2 charges. And then I play an Acidic Flowmite to gain 3 ether, and I may lose 1 charge, which I do. And then I place an Immolate on Daughter of Doom. Right, and then I have 6 ether left. What am I going to do with 6 ether? And I think, yeah, I can just buy off Crumbling Earth because otherwise I'll just buy charges, and I can do that at any time. Player 2. So that's a bit unfortunate timing because I didn't want to pay this off, and I actually wanted to Nemesis to go first because then this would resolve, unleash, remove 2 barrier tokens from any power, so it would only be an unleash once. But in this case, I just want to keep Endless Weave on it actually. That's 4 ether, prepping a second Unleash Weave plus. Oh, no, not at all, not at all. So that'd be 3, 4, 5. So at least I can prep all my spells, but that's gonna be 4. Take this down to 5, and then I'm gonna get a barrier which is going to be removed soon. Spend 1 ether to focus our 3rd breach with Washium, and we have 4 ether, so that's gonna be 2 charges. Okay, it's not gonna matter in terms of the Nemesis. Washium to pay 1 to open this. And then I have 2 ether left over for charge, but really fitting to be able to use it right now. To Owner's Overwhelming Flame, I mean. 1. Do we have 5 ether over here? We do not. We do not. We have 4. We have 4. Right. At max. So there's no need to put a barrier token out, so we're just gonna focus this for 3 ether and prep 2. Foe, the scavenger gains 2 charges, any player loses 2 charges. Actually, I think I'm gonna do that. It's not exactly optimal. For Thraxir, really wanted to get that ability off, gaining cards, but I think... Or maybe... No, we're gonna risk it for the biscuit. And hope it works out in our favor. Alright, Nemesis. Unleash. First these off. And then it unleashes. Gonna take one off here. Remove power barriers, and then we hope we can reinstate them at some point soon. Because I'm not looking forward to taking 9 damage to the face. Especially not before getting Leisan online with her ability. Abyssal Poet. Persistent, remove a barrier token from a power in play or unleash. Round 4 already. We don't have any barriers, so we unleash. I hope Gravehold is the healthiest, because that might just trigger. Winter's Bite. Unleash. Discard the top card of the Nemesis deck, or the player with the lowest life suffers 5. Thraxir, you're not gonna do that. If Leisan was online, you would be fine to do that, but we are not, so unleash. I think Gravehold's just gonna suffer that. Goes to 6. And then unleashes twice, so goes down to 4. Gravehold suffers 7. 1, 2, 3, 17. Yeah, okay, I think I did the right thing, so 1 off each. And 1 off that Diatribe of Despair. And we have Scale Sister. Persistent, any player loses 2 charges, or any player discards a prep spell that costs 3 either or more. So we are in a bit of a conundrum here, or dilemma I should say. Because we want to get rid of the minions, obviously, but we also want to deal damage to the Nemesis to put barriers on, so I don't know how that's going to work out for me. We still haven't seen Foe, so I do think, I think that I much rather put barriers on, because that's more immediate, much more of an immediate threat. So that's going to be 5 damage right there, and we can keep that. Alright, so that's 6 damage now. Gonna prep another Endless Weave, and then we're gonna trigger our ability with 2 ether left over for a charge later afterwards. So I'm just gonna keep it like that, and then focus a breach, and then we gain a card that costs up to twice of the open of the focus cost of the open breach with the highest focus cost. That's this one, and then we can gain a card that costs 6 or less, so might just want another Endless Weave on, I think. Oh, so Endless Weave, while prep, when you use your ability, any ally may draw a card and prep a spell in hand to an open or closed breach. I don't have, she doesn't have a spell in hand. Might just want another Endless Weave. I think that's one we're gonna do. Because we have 2 Washiums in rotation. Oh, they're already there. So it should be rather easy to just open up our 4th breach and hopefully charge up on the next turn to give for the subsequent turn and do a lot of stuff. Archive. Any player draws 3 cards and discards any card drawn this way that costs 3 or more, or Muna loses them any amount of knowledge. The players collectively draws cards equals knowledge lost in this way. Okay, so let's see, where do we benefit from this? So Washington does 2 rotations, so it's 4 ether to open. Right, so then we don't even care about opening itself, because we're gonna do that. If there was an 8-cost card in the market, that would be amazing, but there is not. The highest is Boundless Engulf, which we don't really care about as much. Or do we at this point? I don't think it's going to be easy to have a discard pile of 8 either, or 7 other cards. But that's 2 Ether, 4 and 5, so that's 2 charges. 1, 2, so we have 8. 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's share it equally, so that would be 4. Alright, just 3. 3 cards over here gives us on the next turn focus, so it's next to open, and then we have 2 Ether, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, which is enough to fully charge up. Use Owner's Overwhelming Flame, plus 2 Endless Weaves prepped. Okay, so I think that's what I'm gonna do, at least in theory, so let's just wait around with that. So we say 3, allocate 3 books over here, because we don't necessarily want to spend them all right now. Let's say that's what we would appreciate to do. Can we do here 1 crystal, Johanna's Bottled Ink, a crystal and a crystal. The players collectively draws cards equal to the knowledge lost in this way. Yeah, so we can do whatever we want. So what do we want? So we are going Acidic Flowmite. That's 3 Ether. And we lose a charge because we want another Immolate to destroy Scorch Pearl and a crystal in hand. And then we have 2. We still have the 3. That would be 6, 8, 9. And then 1 allocated over here would be the 10, so she can use her ability. Is that just all I need? Just the 4? I don't even think it would help me necessarily down the line. Alright, so let's say I want more. I could have 4 more over here. And then what? I would have 2 Endless Weaves in the next hand. Plus the cards that I discarded that I want to discard. So that would be, what? 2 Washiums. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be bad. And then we can just power up our ability, give even more cards to Leisan. That's a bit greedy, but Thraxir would be thriving. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So that would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards to Thraxir. 1 card. 1 card to Leisan. Well, that was for all the thinking. There we go. Foe. Scavenger loses 1 charge and any player may discard a prep spell that costs 3 or more. If they don't, Scavenger gains an additional 2 charges. I am afraid I have to discard the Endless Weave on that, because I cannot right now survive taking any more damage on Thraxir. If it was any player takes 4 damage, any mage takes 4 damage, it would be fine, but that's not the case. That's not the case. Okay, so just friendlies now. Okay, Thraxir's already gone once. Do not want to use the sparks just yet. Or actually I do. 2. No, I don't. Right, so I'm gonna prep. I'm thinking big brain right here. So prep Endless Weave. And then Vertium twice. To spend 1 on each to focus it up. And then I can prep Endless Weave here. Oh no, it doesn't work like that. At least not in my interpretation, because all the other stuff, they say once you have resolved your ability, apply this effect, and this one says the next time you use your ability, which is, I believe is when I utilize my ability or pay the charges. That's when that happens. And that matters, I'll explain that. So that's 1 charge, 2 charge, and 3 charge. That pops off. So we on our own turns, we're gonna open. So first, what's gonna happen is Endless Weave draws 2 cards and doesn't have any spells, so that's not really happening. And then Endless Weave for 5 damage. I think we just want to try to get rid of these. So down to 4 health. And then the ability, we open that up and we gain a card. That's going to be Endless Weave. And then we have 2 charges. Next time Thraxir goes, it's going to be a lot of damage. Actually, because that's prepped there plus the 3 others, so that's going to be 7 damage. Okay, that's Abyssal Rod clean off, actually, so might just be fine on, actually. Yeah, we're gonna keep it as it is. Okay, that spark is definitely triggering, so putting this down to, what, 29, putting a barrier on it. We still have her going again, so we don't need to do anything drastic right now. Alright, so that was the acidic flow mites to lose that charge. And then put an immolate on here, and then that's the second one. So we can do that to destroy Scorch Pearl and a crystal from hand. Good. And then what do we have? So that's 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's perfect. That's fully charged up. So she goes to 12 HP. I haven't seen that before. Sorry, 14. How do I show that? That's 12 plus the 2. That's a 12-sided die, so that's why. Replacing her ability. Alright, so this is what I'm triggering. So immediately gain 4 life up to maximum 14. Reveal the top 3 cards of the ultimate form deck. Add 1 of those cards to your hand and return the rest to the deck. Your maximum life is 14. Whenever any player would suffer damage, you suffer that damage instead. When you have 0 life, do not resolve unexhaust effects. You may still gain life even when you have 0 life. And then she gained a new ability, Smash. Gain 4 life. Return the card you gained from the ultimate form deck from your discard pile to your hand. If that card was destroyed, return it to your hand. For 5 charges. And there's one exact spell that I really want here. Is it here? It's not this one. Hulking Comet. Cast, deal 4 damage. Any ally draws 3 cards and discards a card in hand. Titanic Jasmite. Gain 4 ether. You may place the next card you gain this turn into any player's hand. No, we did not get it. We did not get it. Towering Obelisk. Any ally gains 3 charges or any player destroys up to 2 cards in hand or discard pile. So I'm just going to show it, and this is what I got in my previous game. So if I hadn't missed the rule, like done it wrong, Mountain Gust was what I was looking for. Cast, deals 6 damage divided however you choose to any number of enemies. Because you can always make sure to put a barrier token on either Diatribe of Despair or Melody of Madness, because you can say, okay, I'm going to deal 2 damage to Daughter of Doom and 4 damage to Matron of Malice, or 5 damage to Matron of Malice, putting 2 power barriers on with just 1 spell. And that's not what we saw coming. That's not what we got. So I think Hulking Comet might, at least any ally draws 3 cards and discards a card in hand. Oh yeah, but we get an into hand, and I haven't even focused the breach this turn. So I'm gonna get Titanic Jasmite. Right, and then 4 Ether, you may place the next card you gain this turn into any player's hand. For 4 Ether, is there a card I want to place into any player's hand? I could get Toon Reconstructor into hand. Reconstructing Infuser for what? A Coruscating Mirror, a Silent Sting. I think it's fine. 4 Ether. There can be 2 charges for herself. And then hopefully next time she can gain a spell into hand and so on. Right, and she goes again. So what I think I want to happen is Banner of Siphon, take off that. 1 damage to take to here down to 4, put a barrier token on. And hope we go before Abyssal Rots. And then we could use Acidic Flowmite, honestly, to destroy a Crystal and a Spark. Do we really want to destroy both? That's 4, 7, 10. I could gain a Boundless Engulf into hand. Or a Time Rift. So I'm gonna do that. Time Rift. I think I'm gonna lose. No, yeah, I'm gonna lose 1 charge to put 1 Immolate on for now. Oh, I could do it both. So I can give 2 Immolates to Thraxir. Oh, but he doesn't want to do it on the next turn, so... Because it has to be in hand, as far as I understand it. It's not really helpful in that regard. We're just gonna keep them there. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, actually, in that case, Time Rift there, and then we got Boundless Doom, and then we can just Spark, and then Boundless Doom, Engulf, and then it actually does go into hands. Okay, so we good. Right, let's see what's gonna go happen. Okay, let's go. Nemesis. Remove a barrier token from a power in play or unleash. Oh, sorry, these trigger. So 6 damage to Leisan. Goes to 2, and then 4, so that's 8. Remove that. Goes to 4, because that's where we want to remove. Oh, actually, we want to keep that at 5, because then we can trigger this, so we don't have to remove the barriers. Goes down to 12, because 7 minus 2, that's 5. And then we put it back with 4, 6, because we much rather take the damage on Leisan. Okay, and then we unleash. Any player loses 2 charges, or any player discards a prep spell that costs 3 or more. That's only 2 charges. We can't. She can do that. Good. New card. Moondrunk Mongrel. Persistent unleashed twice. Okay, so as long as we can just get through this round, I think we should be fine. It's just round 5. Alright, okay, good. Okay, so Endless Weave to deal 4 plus the 3, so that's 7. That's out. That's 5 to take this out. And we have 2 sparks to take the 2 shields off, or at least 1 shield off. And we're gonna take both of them, because then we are sure that Leisan can get rid of it next turn. And we double prep Endless Weave. Oh, that's why it doesn't help us. Oh, but now it happened. So that's gonna be 4, 5 ether, 2 charges. And then if that player has no close breaches, deal 8 damage. Oh, so first, so that's gonna be two draws over here. May prep them to an open or closed breach. So maybe I just buy a lot of Boundless Angles over here, and then we're good. And then I cast a spell that's gonna be 7 damage to this. That's gotten rid of. And then the 8 damage. And then we put a berry on it. Okay. That's 7 and 5. 7 and 5, that's 12. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Foe can lose 1 charge. That's 2 charges left over. Actually, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might just be better off buying a lot of Silent Stings and hope they get into rotation fast enough. Because the problem is Daughter of Doom right now. Right, good timing. Descending Sky. Spend 8, power 2, unleash twice. Any player suffers 2 damage. A different player discards the 2 most expensive cards in hand. I think we're alright. Friend. Yeah, she's just gonna gain 2 charges. It's Delve. Gain 2 charges, or charges on Myrna the Scholar loses 1 knowledge. If she does, any player gains 4 Ether tokens. Yeah, it doesn't have access to that right now. We have Foe and Leisan once more after this. That's gonna be Boundless Doom Boom for 5. Banner of Siphon for 1. So that's 6 damage, and I'm just gonna deal to Daughter of Doom. There's only 1 barrier. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a Silent Sting. And a charge. Foe. Scavenger gains 1 charge. Any ally may discard a prep spell that costs 3 or more. If they don't, there isn't any. So it gains 3 charges, triggers, and deals 4 damage. So Leisan went from already taking 10 damage. Okay, so that's 2 sparks. Put Daughter of Dooms down to what? 12 plus the 8, 20. That's 2 barriers. Just want to keep Gravehold safe for now. So that's 4, 10, 9. I'm gonna gain a Boundless Engulf for the 6, and then a Silence Sting for the 3. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they both bounce on next turn. And I have the Ether to open breach 4, right? 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Round 6? How is this round 6? I don't think I did. Well, if you're watching this, you will know I did not forget anything, because then I uploaded it. Alright, so Archive. Any player draws 3 cards and discards any cards drawn this way that cost 3 or more. Or immune to lose any amount of knowledge. Okay, doesn't have any knowledge, so gotta do something. What about Leisan over here? Oh, nope, does not want to do that. Because then Boundless Engulfs don't bounce. So it's gotta be Thraxir, even if that's gonna hurt. Yeah, that hurts a little bit. Discard those 2. It's what it is. At least he has breaches to prep these in. And I also believe it wrote, like everything else down the line actually does help him. Good. So player 1. That's gonna be 5. That's gonna be 4. Alright, and because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, exactly on the spot with the 8 cards, it bounces back. The first one bounces back on its own before the next one comes in, and then it also bounces up. Because they don't really stack together. Well, one gets stuck and then the other one can get up, but not the other way around. Right, so that's 9 damage. And I think we just want to do this based on how much life they have. Okay, so that's 16. That's 20. So the first 5 can go here. And I mean, that's gonna be place barriers on. So also just 4 here. And then we prep them again. And then we have 3 ether plus 1 if Thraxir is willing to discard a card. And he can discard a spark, that's fine. And that way we don't get stuck with cards in our hand. Just like that. Okay. Prep. Charge. Yeah, that's a really good hand. So it was good that he got to the draw 3, discard 2, even though it was rough to discard them. Okay, so I think I can win on this turn if I do it correctly. That's 7, that's 5, and that's a 1. And that's 11. Thing is, because I'm gonna use my ability, that's gonna be cast for 7 with Owner's Overwhelming Flame. Plus the 8. Does it even matter how, if I just approximately deals this so it's least amount of damage wasted? So that's gonna be 7 and 5 and 1. So 7 to this one, 4, and then yeah, and then 5. Take that one out. And then 1 to this one over here. Right. I have 7 plus the 8. That's not enough, is it? 7 plus 8. That's 15. And it has 15 health. Prep both, just for the fun of it, and then charge up. Use it. An ally draws 2 cards. May prep spells, but no breaches to prep them to. And that's going to be 7 from Owner's Overwhelming Flame. That's 3 off, minus 4, so that's 2, and that's 8 exactly, and then that's the ability for 8. Defeating both. GG. Okay, how did that go so fast? Because Leisan did not provide as much as she should have been doing. I don't think the market was really for The gem that I got, I don't think... Maybe it was just better to get the pure damage. Like, she did get the boundless engulfs, and she was ready to deal another 9, 10, 11 damage. How did this go in round 6? Did I forget something? Alright, so... Foe Gravel suffers 3 or the scavenger gains 3 charges. If we assume I'm aware that this is going to be the round where I win, it's fine to just give it 3 charges. Well, I mean, all the cards that I drew on Myrna's cards was really massive, so that really did put me forward a few rounds. We don't really care about Leisan right now because we already got the win. Any player discards 3 cards in hand and suffers 2 damage. Okay, so that would have alternated something, but I think Leisan was fine with discarding cards at that point. Taking damage wasn't really an issue. Nemesis goes again. Aha, that's what happened last. Yeah, so the game that I had to delete, or whatever you want to call it, that was because of, might have been because of Crescendo, any witch gains 20 life. And I couldn't unleash twice and remove 2 barrier tokens from any power because I didn't have any barrier tokens in play, so I couldn't choose that option. So yeah, that would have pushed me into the next round because I wouldn't have had the damage. Okay, so that kind of explains that. So if Nemesis had gone before me, it would have gained a 20 life. That would have been a bad choice for the scavenger because I forgot. Well, it's a good thing that I forgot because I shouldn't have been assuming that stuff going on. And then we have Shrieking Havoc next round. We have Hissing Whisper. So, like, we didn't really have any minions in tier 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why we took a lot of damage, but we didn't have to like put a lot of damage into minions before Abyssal Poet. Okay, so there was a minion there, of course, and we have 2 minions in tier 2, and then it was kind of over. So I didn't have to allocate a lot of damage to minions. It didn't gain the 20 bonus life. Yeah, so that's really what made the difference. And then Thraxir, when he really got online, like the Endless Weaves were not so nice for him as much as it was for Leisan, and I don't think Leisan managed to benefit that much from them. If she had had a different setup with more spells early on when they came online, if she had gotten a different card from her the monstrosity, manifest monstrosity, I think, which looked a little bit different on her end. I should have been aware of maybe getting a spell, so I should have prepped all my sparks or kept them prepped. So I actually could have prepped it. Yeah, I really like these mages. I think they're really interesting. I think Ona's Overwhelming Flame is broken on certain mages, so that's really what's going on here. I think the Coven is a really nice interactive nemesis because it forces you to consider how to deal with it and where to deal damage, how to deal the damage. Do we take on the minions right now to get that threat out of the way, or do we focus on the witches to reduce the amount of damage that's gonna happen soon? It really forces you to interact with the nemesis. Yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about this setup. Other than maybe I have to look through and double check that I didn't do any mistakes. I wonder what I can do different. I think I could have played a Leisan a bit more optimally. I think Thraxir was as good as it could be, other than, of course, Endless Weave not doing so much for him. Yeah, right. Battle 2, conclusion. It has been a long time since I've been able to stretch these old bones. Mazahedran laces his fingers together and lifts his hands above his head in self-satisfaction. I had forgotten how rewarding it can feel to step out from the pace of glaciers. We fought your battle. Your mountains is safe. Now will you fulfill your end of our bargain? Brahma touches the edge of a house scarred from fire and splattered with gore. We need to get to safety as quickly as possible. Of course, it will be good to see the city of my youth again. Mazahedran nods his head slowly. Let us collect your people and be on our way. As they travel, Mazahedran dazzles them all with the tales of the great city of Karik, how the sea and brass buildings would glitter like jewels in the sunlight, and how the massive crowds of people, more people than Brahma can even imagine, would flow through the city streets as they went about their days. Like, this is like 1,000 years ago or something like that? Like a long time ago. Thousands living in the city in tall houses that stretches into the sky. Thousands more arriving on foot or by boat to trade their wares or stop on their travels and admire the beauty of the city. And best of all, he promises, the great archive, home to 1,000 scrolls, the knowledge of 12 generations collected and preserved. Brahma sets Thraxir to walk beside the old man, because it's clear that in spite of his vast knowledge of the world, he has not left his cave in many decades. More than once, he nearly leads them into the paths of a nameless. Blind to the tracks and traces Brahma and her friends have spent their lives studying. He would not survive long out here without their guidance. They travel weeks, making quicker time as Mazahedran leads them confidently down old roads and paths long obscured by the undergrowth. He moves as surely as if he came to this city only yesterday, not hundreds of years ago. And before too long, Brahma catches the first glimpse of something over the horizon. The great brass dome of Karik. Mazahedran proclaims, pointing to the glittering light, and there, beneath, you can see the tops of the walls. Stone walls begins to loom up in front of them, dizzyingly tall, even from this distance. Brahma has never seen anything even half so tall in her life. They would dwarf and nameless. She feels her legs get shaky from the joy of seeing that the fabled city is everything that she has proclaimed and more. She has not led her people to their doom. The legends, her dreams, they are real and solid. Beside her, Jantai grabs her hand and squeezes. Are we sure that's brass? Leisan shades her eyes with her hands and peers at the city. It looks more green than the copper. Copper turns green when it rusts, Myrna suggests. Perhaps in 1,000 years the shine has diminished. No, it looks more like emeralds. Brahma drops Jantai's hand and steps to the front of the group. Something's wrong. Okay, so we're getting a 6-cost card. 6-cost gem, but with 4-cost develop. Asterisk. If you have 2 or more charges, you may gain or develop this for 1 less. Okay, so it's a conditional 5, conditional 3 develop. Oh, that's pretty cool. When you develop this, focus a breach, so it's quite valuable to just develop this outright to save either down the line. Right, we have a spell, Flame Gazer. When you develop this, place an immolate token on an enemy. So these are like, it has benefits of saying like, okay, delay us, develop us, and we'll get you benefits down the line. Cool. Cast, place a Venom token on any enemy and deal 2 damage to it. It's not a lot of damage, like it's 4 damage, but still for 5 costs. But I guess the upside is in the versatility of the Venom token, because once the Venom token triggers, you can stack that damage on something else. And also just in the developing. Fountain of Elements. While prepped, once per turn, when any player develops a card, that player places an elemental token on an enemy. Deal 4 damage. Okay, so very development focused. Let's see where that leads us. Yeah. I just have one comment. I think like the Coven looks very humanoid. Like they're like witches. They are witches, but they have been people that's been consumed by the void, or something like that. And I wonder, like, are they distorted, and then they just attack out of randomness, or they have like, they don't see themselves as human and they just want resources or the ability to continue to live, I suppose. It's not explained here. This is just Brahma's retelling of an old story where they went through a city, a small town where the people were trying to re-establish it. The women were trying to re-establish it, and then they were like making, they were like out to the facade. They were treating them fine and nicely, but inwards they were like making fun of them, because they were like, hey, we can set up somewhere safe. But Sisterhood is like not about that at all. First time Brahma slept under a bed with a roof. Under a roof in a bed. So that's fun. Doesn't really explain who they are. But I guess like some of the cards will explain them if we're looking through the powers and so on. Usually like the back describes them and not something else. I wonder like if this is like implying that these people might be the ones that originally had been there, and that's why the story is there, like these got consumed by the void or something like that. Or she's just hoping that the Coven didn't come around to take them out. Wonder why they're at the mountain. What's going on with that? But I think that's it for this playthrough, this battle, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video where I take on Battle 3. Take care.